Hello and welcome to another episode of Disney Movie Investigation. If this is your first time watching, welcome to the show. In each episode, we take a look at a movie that is featured on Disney+. On this episode, we are taking a look at a Pixar favorite as we take a look at Coco. And stay tuned for our bonus story as we take a deep dive into the Mexican Pavilion at Epcot. And if you are liking these videos, I do ask that you please hit that subscribe button. That way you will never miss a single episode. But for now, sit back and enjoy this episode of Disney Movie Investigation. Like I said, today we're covering Coco, and this was released on October 20th, 2017, and it was directed by Lee Unkrich. The screenplay was done by Adrian Molina and Matthew Aldrich, and the production companies were Walt Disney Pictures and Pixar Animation Studios, and of course it was distributed by Walt Disney Pictures. The budget for this movie was $225 million, and it did a box office return of $807.8 million. So in terms of the production of this movie, Lee Unkrich pitched the idea for Coco after he had finished Toy Story 3. His initial pitch was about an American boy that learns about his Mexican heritage after the death of his mother. Pixar thought that this was the wrong approach, and he changed the lead character to a Mexican boy. The Pixar made several trips to Mexico for research to gain inspiration, as well as they took inspiration from the films Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and John Wick. In 2013, Disney attempted to trademark the phrase Dia de los Muertos for marketing purposes, but this was met with criticism from the Mexican-American community. Lalo Alcaraz, a cartoonist, drew a film poster titled Muerto Mouse, depicting a Godzilla-sized Mickey Mouse with the byline, "It's coming to trademark your cultura." More than 21,000 people signed a petition on change.org stating that the trademark was cultural appropriation and exploitation at its worst. A week after this, Disney canceled the trademark application, stating that the reason for the application was to protect the title of the film, but they have since changed the title. Pixar would then hire Alcaraz, as well as playwright Octavio Solas and former CEO of Mexican Heritage Corporation Marcela Davidson Aviles, to form a cultural consultation group for the picture. Coco would go on to be the first motion picture with a $9 million budget to feature an all-Latino cast. And animation was based on Mexican villages, and the Land of the Dead sequences was to be grounded in reality. 8 original songs would be created for the film by Jermaine Franeco, Adrian Molina, Robert Lopez, and Kristen Anderson Lopez. So a great songwriting team. For those of you who don't know, Robert Lopez and Kristen Anderson Lopez would go on to write the music for Frozen as well. So let's take a look at the cast. So we have Anthony Gonzalez, who provides the voice of Miguel, Gail Garcia Bernardo, who provides the voice of Hector, Benjamin Bratt is the voice of Ernesto de la Cruz, Anna Ubach is Mama Imelda, Renee Victor is Abuelita, Anna Olfa Magaria is Mama Coco, and Edward James Olmos provides the voice of Chirion. So in terms of the plot, what the movie is about is, despite his family's baffling generations-old ban on music, Miguel dreams of becoming an accomplished musician like his idol Ernesto de la Cruz. Desperate to prove his talent, Miguel finds himself in a stunning and colorful land of the dead following a mysterious chain of events. Along the way, he meets the charming trickster Hector, and together they set off on an extraordinary journey to unlock the real story behind Miguel's family history. So this Pixar movie had an interesting marketing strategy. So the first trailer was released on March 15th, 2017, and it was focused mostly on the music of the movie. They would release a short later that month called Dante's Lunch, and that was released on March 29th of 2017, and it was to introduce the character of Dante. The film also had an extensive campaign in Mexico, as the first time ever a wall-painted ad was used at local events. So this was a mural that they would paint at local Mexican events, displaying advertising for the film. Cinepolis, a local movie theater chain in Mexico, had a contest for where the winner would be dubbing a character in the film, and while another chain in Mexico had a contest where the winner would interview the cast and crew of the film at the premiere. The film was released at the Morelia International Film Festival, as well as this film was accompanied by a Walt Disney Studios animated short, Olaf's Frozen Adventure. And I learned recently that this will actually only happen for the first 2 weeks of the film. And there's not, Disney never gave a reason why Olaf's Frozen Adventure was pulled. A lot of people believe it was because of the negative reaction to that film, to that short. In terms of marketing with Coco as well, a virtual reality game was also released prior to the film's release, and this was the first time Pixar movie had a virtual reality game attached to it. So in terms of the legacy of the movie, Coco would go on to receive the Best Animated Feature Academy Award that year, as well as the characters would also be featured in Disney theme parks. In California Adventure, at the Paradise Gardens, there is a daily performance called A Musical Celebration of Coco, which features mariachi performers as well as puppet performers. In Walt Disney World, imagery from the movie can be found throughout the Mexico Pavilion, as well for both parks in California Adventure and in the Magic Kingdom and Walt Disney World. In the attraction Mickey's PhilharMagic, a scene from Coco was added to the storyline, and this was the first time a Pixar film was added to that attraction. A performance in the Hollywood Bowl titled in California, around the Los Angeles area, A Celebration of the Music of Coco, was filmed, and this special was also part of the opening or the launch date of Disney Plus features. And then finally, for the future of Coco, on January 24th, 2023, during Epcot's annual Disney on Broadway concert, Steven Taylor, who is a feature of that concert, who is a singer of that concert, announced that Coco is actually being developed for a live stage production by Disney Theatrical Productions. So would I recommend this movie? I think this is a classic Pixar movie. It's a great story with great characters that each have a backstory and motives on why they're doing what they're doing. I really like the colors and the backgrounds for the Land of the Dead. I think it's a nice positive change as opposed to what the typical, when they go to the afterlife, it's a just dreary, depressing thing. And this was actually bright and positive. So I think that was a great way to take on it. I think the songs are a great touch and an amazing score that is really catching and makes you kind of want to download the soundtrack right away after you watch it. Overall, I think this is a great way to celebrate diversity and teach others about different traditions and cultures, along with a memorable, touching story. So definitely recommend this one, and I definitely will be watching it again. So in terms of our bonus story, we're going to be covering the Mexico Pavilion in Epcot. So like I said, it's located in Epcot, and the Mexico Pavilion allows guests to gain an experience of Mexican culture and traditions, and it is located next to the Norway Pavilion. So the layout. The pavilion represents a Mesoamerican pyramid with steps leading to the entranceway. Guests can enter the doorway, and then they are treated to a collection of Mexican artwork of the Animales Fantástico. The theme inside is an outdoor twilight Mexican village and a marketplace, Plaza de los Amigos. There is a marketplace where guests can purchase Mexican items such as sombreros, chromatics, musical instruments, along with Coco and Three Caballeros merchandise. To the left side as you enter is the attraction, the Grand Fiesta Tour, starring the Three Caballeros. We will go into more detail with this on a separate video, but this is a boat ride that takes guests on a scenic tour of the attractions that Mexico has to offer. The pavilion is also included as part of the DuckTales World Showcase Adventure. So in terms of what some of the highlights of the pavilion, in terms of dining, inside the pavilion is the San Angel Inn restaurant. This is an indoor table restaurant, and the restaurant is a sibling restaurant in Mexico dating back to 1962. So it's kind of a nice, even if you have lunch, you're able to have a kind of night tableside restaurant. That's actually a quite nice atmosphere. I've dined there several times. There is La Senda de San Angel. This is a lakeside table service just located outside of the pyramid that is located outdoors. And this just recently opened in September of 2010. I've eaten there as well. It is also a great restaurant. Cantina de San Angel is a quick service restaurant with lakeside, that is lakeside, just next to the Les Hacienda, and this has casual outdoor seating as well. La Cava de Tequila, this is a tequila bar with a location of tequila, margaritas, and small appetizers hosted by actual tequila connoisseurs. And then finally, there is Choza de Margarita. This is an outdoor margarita bar with a variety of frozen margaritas and Mexican snacks. And this just opened actually very recently in 2017. In terms of other things at the pavilion also features character meet and greets from Donald Duck in his Three Caballeros outfit, as well as Coco characters will often make appearances. And then in terms of entertainment, there is often live performances from Mariachi Cobre. So I think this is a great pavilion. It's definitely, there's lots to do and lots to see. It's very visual. The boat ride is actually one of my favorites. So definitely check this one out. And it is a kind of a great start to your World Showcase adventure on Epcot, because it's actually, you can either go one or two ways. You can go to Canada and go the other way, or you can go to Mexico and start that way. So definitely one of the highlights of Epcot. So thank you so much for joining us here on Disney Movie Investigation. I would invite anyone to please leave a comment below on what they think of the movie Coco, as well as if you have been to the Mexican Pavilion in Epcot, please leave a kind of a comment or your favorite memory of visiting that pavilion. So as we look forward to our next video, we're kind of going to do a late Christmas present for you guys as we take a look at the 90s favorite as we look at Home Alone. And stay tuned. We're going to take a look at Home Alone starring Macaulay Culkin. So until next time, I hope you have a magical day, and we will see you real soon.